Well, everybody, this is our last content meeting of the semester. It's wild. Appreciate you all being here. I'll talk about what's going on next week in a bit, but yeah. Please sign in. If you're new, this is just how we track attendance. It helps us boost our numbers and stuff.
Can I have the video?
It's in our Discord right now.
You can go send it straight.
And also just, check our.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's on the YouTube.
Yeah.
We won't get any.
Also, there's this one if you want to join our Discord, and or follow us on Instagram because we sometimes post on Instagram. Sometimes. All right, announcements. So this past weekend was the NCL Spring Individual Competition. We had, I think, 10 people compete. Sean did the L there. He did a good job. Scored 100% on the CTF, which is it's not kind of, it is insane. So good job there. We have the mini CTF going on this weekend, so there's gonna be more information on that later if you're interested in that. We've got the thing Bearcat CTF. Again, that's something that the club hosts. It's a annual CTF competition, cybersecurity competition. It's probably gonna be 18-19, but if you want to help us out playing it, always looking for more people to join us with that. And then next week is our final meeting, so there's really not gonna be much going on. If you're gonna be around here for the summer and you're interested in being involved still, I encourage you to join. Show up just because we'll be talking about some details with that. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the mini CTF thing. So it's going to be this weekend. It's going to be Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be entirely virtual. If you've never done a CTF before and maybe you're interested in seeing what it's like, it'd be a good place to start. The only difference is most CTFs here are kind of restricted to the actual cybersecurity problems. This one, we're going to be letting you guys kind of break stuff if possible to test out our troubleshooting skills and whatnot. So hope you guys can do that. There is a Discord made, so if you do sign up now, I'll have to get you added to it, but no worries. Yeah. Any questions on that for those who are participating or maybe who want to participate? Cool. We have committees. So if you're new, I encourage you to join and check them out sometimes. Probably not so much this year, maybe next year, maybe in the fall. But yeah, we got lab, which Cooper does. He's been doing a great job with that. PA, which Sage handles. Andrew does finance stuff, so if you want to handle some tax stuff, go for it. And then Hugh does CTF things. So yeah. Last week we had our last industry speaker. His name is Brad. He basically talked about his career and essentially the brutal reality of working cybersecurity. It's not a negative thing; it is a positive thing. There's just some things that as students we don't really know about. Unfortunately, we couldn't record it, but yeah. News. So I disclaimer: the news was light this week. So apparently AT&T still doesn't know what's going on with the data that was leaked. They're now only saying that there was 51 million customers had their data leaked instead of like 73 million. So good for them, I guess. They saved, whatever. LG TVs, certain ones that have the WebOS as operating system were discovered to have 4 vulnerabilities with varying level of access. At worst, it was remote access to the TVs themselves. So that's great. Good TVs. There is a spoofed Notepad++ site, which is leading individuals to download a fake version. It was just light this week. It's that URL. If you please do not download Notepad++ from that URL. I say that because it actually, if you search download Notepad++, it is in the top results.
Whoa, that's insane.
Sometimes it's above this. This is not a new thing. This is just manipulating Google search engine optimization stuff. It's pretty wild. So yeah, the actual domain is the notepad-plus.org, not notepad.plus, which honestly, that one looks better. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. Home Depot had a data breach that included 10,000 employees. It was non-sensitive data, but it was from a third-party software as a service provider. So good old third-party attacks. Great question. It is going to be used most likely for a very targeted phishing campaign. So it got email addresses, user IDs. So employee IDs are supposed like most employees think, oh, if I have an email that has my employee ID in it, it's probably real. So they're going to use that most likely for an actual attack. Speaking of actual attacks, the thing that Panera Bread got into was actually a ransomware attack. That they confirmed that. Their entire infrastructure, like online infrastructure, was offline for I think about a week while they were dealing with it. So the article I read said that it pissed off a lot of the the drink club people because they couldn't get their free drinks after they spent $15 for it. So yeah, the City of Hope, which is a U.S. cancer center, they also had a breach. It was over 80,000 patients. It included all of the following information at various levels. So everything from your first name to your social security number to your health insurance. So not good. Yeah. This was actually kind of cool. Not really, but there was if those of you remember, there was an HTTP version 2 denial of service vulnerability. I think from November. I think they called it Rapid Reset. There's another one, and it's apparently worse than the previous. So basically, how it works is like this. This probably means nothing to you, but basically, it doesn't have an end frame, so it's just a bunch of continuation frames, and it will eventually overload the HTTP server and kill it.
There's also no patches there, is there?
There is. I think you have to have like just a timeout, so it's a very simple fix. But if you don't have it, you're screwed. Do you work for Home Depot?
She's screwed.
They had a employee data breach. You see that? Yeah.
She quit.
Oh, okay, so maybe she said.
She was caught in healthcare.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so that's all the news I had. Anybody see anything else in the news this week they'd like to share with us? Yes.
The British peoples have created really good fiber optics.
How good?
Like enough that it can be really long.
Several terabits per second.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was upwards of 400.
You said they're good?
Yeah.
Really? That's surprising.
I think it's actually
Just you look at it from like
We should put bets on how fast it can get privatized. To see how
Well, okay, but here's the
I'll
thing.
give it a week.
Verizon said that we were gonna get like everybody's gonna have fiber. America gave them a whole bunch of money for it, and
They never did it, right? Like this is bullshit.
Great.
the crazy thing about this is like they don't even have to replace anything.
That's true. Yeah, that's a big cost as well as replacing the stuff. Cool. Well, in that case,
That's what I'm saying.
Cooper is going to give his OSINT talk.
Oh yeah! That's our man.
Oh wait, shit.
I mean,
Isn't that
Sorry,
title?
I got trigger happy. I'm sorry. All right, there you go. Go for it.
All right.
You're at this plug lab down there. It's so bad.
Yeah. So, welcome to OSINT and how to properly find people. Also, plugging lab. Go to it Mondays at 6. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of server stuff. And yeah, CTF. Yeah, but lab's cooler. Anyways, so what is OSINT? OSINT is really just data that's publicly available instead of either A, being securely hidden on the internet, or B, it's just like public records. So it can come from a lot of different sources. Social media is a big one. Google dorking. Check out Nyla's presentation on that. Shodan, we all know what Shodan is. That's IoT and port scraping. You can do web scraping. You can look on it for public records, so like property info, your voter registration, or like police records, and many other different sites and places that you can find it. But let's go break some of those down. Google dorking. It's also known as Google hacking. It's just using advanced search operators and queries in Google to find that sensitive or hidden information that's publicly accessible on the internet. It can be unethical or in some cases illegal, so be careful. But if you want to use it for OSINT, so you can search for specific names or emails using the in-text or in-URL operators. If you want to look for personal documents or profiles, you can use the file type operator. For example, you could also look for contact information on company or organization websites, using the site operator. Or you could use it to discover social media profiles, blog posts, or any other online presences using a person's name.
Did you find anything with the second search?
So I used my name, and I found my employee for Delaware City Schools. I found the meeting notes for when I got hired, which was kind of weird. I didn't know that existed. But go ahead.
Have you done site.gov and then Robux?
And then what?
Robux?
No.
Yes. If you do the .gov filter, you will find like files and like pages of like government websites that just have like Robux stamps on them and colleges too.
That's crazy. Shodan. Shodan's a search engine that allows users to find and gather information about those various systems and devices that's connected to the internet. The way it works, the quick rundown is it generates random IP addresses, then scans those ports, and then any information that it finds off those ports, it maps to that IP address. But unfortunately, UC blocked Shodan here, so I couldn't really do anything with that. So what's next, you may ask? Automation. So how do we automate stalking? So web scraping is a technique that we can use to collect very large amounts of data very, very efficiently. And it enables the users to collect that data into like just one data set or one file. This is typically done using the HTML of a web page, and then we'll pull the text out of that HTML page and discard the rest. Web scraping with a Python library makes it really easy. And many popular tools such as Sherlock or the Harvester utilize that, and pretty cool. Now, some of you may think, oh, you could just use the Python request library to scrape the HTML and get the data that way. No need for like all these fancy libraries and extra stuff. You're wrong. Nowadays, modern web pages use their JavaScript to render all their text and data. Python requests can't render that JavaScript, or I'll call it dynamic content for the rest of the presentation. So it can't render that dynamic content for anybody to scrape, which means that it's a real pain in the butt to scrape off any data from these site pages. So that leaves you to two alternatives. Write your own JavaScript rendering library with Python requests, or you can just use a library, which does it all for you. So here are some popular Python libraries to do that. Scrapey, Puppeteer, Selenium, and Beautiful Soup all make it super smooth. They let you render that dynamic content in the background so you can still harvest all the data to your heart's content. For this talk, we're going to focus on these two, Beautiful Soup and Selenium. But before we get to that, Cloudflare and other big tech names, they like to track you. So one main problem with this approach, when you just go out and mass scrape, is they'll track you based on your IP. And if you do too much, they will just IP ban you. So the way we do that is we exploit user agents for each session. Go watch Nyla's talk on not how to get caught for that as well. So you can generate your own user agents for each session and clear cookies between each search, or you could even go as far as to set up a rotating proxy so you really can't be tracked. And this will just trick the sites to think that you're just a whole different user on a whole different computer just using that IP address. So they'll just let you do whatever you want. Just the name of the game with web scraping is don't get caught. So how do we do this? Selenium is a fantastic library. It allows you to generate your own custom Chrome instances with your own custom browsers browser parameters. So that includes user agents. You can disable automation flags so websites don't see that you're actually botting. And you can run it in headless mode or in the background so it doesn't actually open the tab. And you can do all this to not be seen. And then Beautiful Soup or BS4 allows you to parse all this HTML really quickly. And it allows you to just extract any data that you want from that HTML. So here is an actual screenshot from my code that allows me to generate that Chrome instance. You can do it with any browser, Firefox, Safari, I think any Chromium-based ones. But it allows you to just generate your own custom instances of these, and you can do whatever flags.
So use Selenium to bring the pages and then people to get the HTML.
Right. So, scraping in action. I blocked out the URL that I've been using for my project, but essentially what this does is we set a URL that we want to scrape. So in this case, it could be whatever you want, Instagram or whatever. In this case, I chose Instagram. Then you want to delete all the cookies. This is so that way, again, we want to reduce tracking. Once we do that, we'll actually go to our URL. And then we'll wait. I set 5 seconds because UC's internet is slow. But if you have faster internet, this will go even faster. And then what this does is it loads the page until it sees the HTML selector heading with the class of full name. And then it just stops the loading. So this is how I make it super quick. And then Beautiful Soup will download all the HTML off that web page. And then this big function down here just takes all that HTML that I gathered and parses it into a human readable format. So I built an app on top of all of this that I call Pigeon. Pigeon is a tool that I've created where I can combine all these like scraping techniques to scrape profiles off Instagram and parse all of the data off that site. So for any profile on Instagram, I can get their username, their full name, their bio, the number of posts they have, the number of followers they have, how many people they follow, whether they're a private or public account. If they're verified, I can generate the URL to their Instagram profile, and I can download their profile picture, all in about half a second. For posts, if your profile is public, I can download the URL. I can get the URL to download each photo on your post. I can get the description of your post. I can get the number of likes, the number of comments, how long ago the post was made, then any hashtags or mentions on that post. And that's for each post that you make. And so the last 3 months I've spent building an app that runs in your terminal because the terminal is beautiful. So if you've never made a terminal app in Python, one of the best libraries I've ever used is called Textual. It allows you to take full control of your terminal to build beautiful apps if you're good at making it look beautiful. I personally am not. But so I guess we could do the demo here. So what is it? This one. And then this one. Yeah. I have to check this other one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want me to turn my brightness up?
Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, that's what it said it was.
All right, fine. You're fine. Just go. You're just doing a laptop now. It's fine.
It is actually circular.
I'm not gonna.
What?
Just do it on a laptop, and then we can just. I'll do it like this. It's fine. Just,
But you guys must have a screen now.
what? Why?
Well, maybe if you use a real OS, like
No, it's fixed.
Windows.
All right, go.
Okay,
for it.
Nyla. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but let me zoom in. So first, I'm gonna kill off all instances of Chrome because we don't like Chrome.
You want me to hit the lights?
Yeah, you can go for it. Let me see if I can zoom in. All right. I looked right at that. Is that a little better? That looks better. So I'm gonna run my Python script.
I did.
And what this is going to do is this is going to generate a Chrome instance in the background. And so now we're running Chrome in a new tab, but you can't see it. So what can we do with this? Well, I can search for a name. So say I want to look myself up. I'll just put my name in. And there I am. And it displays a picture of my profile picture in the terminal. If you want more detail, you can zoom in. You can see my ugly face. But you can see that I get the username, my full name, my bio, that I am Spoon certified, how many followers, followings, and posts that I've made, and then my private and verified status. And then you also see this giant green download button. Yes, Matt.
So you have a very unique name.
Right.
If you do like a name like mine, it's very basic. Or multiple people or like the tops.
We'll get there. So we will go into Pigeon, and you can see that it created this captured users folder. Right? So I have my own like little saved profile on here now. And you can see that it saves my profile picture. And then it also generates a JSON file of all the information about me. Now, when we hit the download button, we get this nice little directory called posts. And then for each of these, you can go in and see my trip to Colorado. That's on my Instagram. Or say you want to see my most recent one of me and my friends. But Matt made a good point. What if we want to look for multiple people? Yes, Sage.
Sorry, is your account public?
My account is public. So that's why you were able to see and download all of my posts. So let's look for our own president, Matthew Price, since he just volunteered. Yes, Mark.
Does it change when you download older files, so say for pictures? Does it change the metadata or?
So the metadata, Instagram took off metadata. They wiped metadata. So it used to be able that you can get location of the photo taken and just all that other stuff from the downloaded photo. But unfortunately, they got smart and got rid of that.
Wait, so there was a point in time where you could?
Yep.
Is there any main shows for that story that's not that on Facebook?
I'm pretty sure.
Not that I'm aware.
My house.
I'm not browsing my way to 4chan.
No, I don't either, but I just remember hearing a story about like this one person who posted like there's a Burger King employee and like
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so say we wanted to look for multiple people. Matt's got a semi-unique name.
It's unique. Well, it's very good.
We're about to find out. So this part is a little slow. This is still a work in progress app. I was working on it last night. I was working on it today, but it's a little slow because it has to go out and it fetches every single profile with the name Matthew Price. Usually it returns about the top 20, but you can see that it returns a decent amount of profiles, none of which are Matthew Price.
No. Scroll up. I haven't seen you yet.
wait, let's go back to the price tag.
Yeah, that ball
That
guy.
guy.
Oh, yeah, that's Matt.
Writer, actor, bam.
Well, because Matthew, you're
I don't know that.
profile.
Yeah. So say somebody does know Matt's Instagram account.
You should try Matt, not Matthew.
We can immediately download all of his information. Now, we do notice this little green text right here. Matt does have a private account. So that means we can't download all his posts.
How real time is it? I made it public right now.
I think it's about 5 minutes. But if any profiles I want to download, I can scrape in about half a second. So if we get rid of all of our information on our captured users, and I wanted to get Matt again, well, let's go to Cyber at UC. Cyber at UC. That's how fast it is. So we can download all of Cyber at UC's, and we have 18 posts. And I can download about 120 posts in a minute. And it runs all of the downloads asynchronously, so it doesn't take up extra time and go individually, which was kind of the hard part of the whole thing. And I had to build around that as well. So, but yeah, that's the scraper that I've been working on for 3 months now. Obviously, it's still a work in progress, but I can talk about that a little more. Yes.
I don't know if you're gonna answer this, but like, what would be the benefits of this?
So before we get to that, I gotta do the shameless plug and then future plans for the project. So I want to expand to multiple social media platforms. So this might include Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that. I want to fix some of the bugs in my code. I want to add in like a reverse name search. So I'll be able to get that Matthew Price and then look him up in Yellow Pages, People Finder, etc. Get his phone number, address, etc.
Oh,
You don't, and that's the neat thing about it. I need to fix more bugs, and then I need to make a better UI and fix those bugs. But the reason why building a tool like this is really good is because think about like employers. They want to go and like see what you're like outside of the company as well. And so they can go and they can like be like, okay, he's a raging alcoholic. I'm not saying Matthew's a
that's
raging
what
alcoholic,
would say.
but like say we're just hiring Joe Schmo off the block. We can look him up and see his social media presence and be like, okay, this guy's not what we want. Or we can go and find out more information about him and be like, okay, they might be a good fit for our company. And so you can just expand that. It's also good if you're on the red team side of it to get information about who you might attack or who you're getting attacked by.
Like that Home Depot.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they'd be able to just run all the names through the scraper, and then go from there.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I think when it was just to like the scope of just Instagram or just one,
Right.
that was like I didn't understand, but if you could like just get a ton of social media.
Mhm.
You could probably do something like this story. Are you doing rotating techniques?
Yeah. So we can dive into the code a little. I'm not sharing. So we can dive into the code a bit. So obviously we got like a bunch of our imports and all that, but if we look at the find user, it's not that big of a function. Right here. So what it does is it will take that search query that you made and it goes to the pickuki.com site and it'll like parse in that username. And then that's how it finds and generates the list of usernames to scrape. And then once it does that, it will return the usernames and then run it through this scrape user data function. Now this is my favorite function, probably the best one I've ever written. And this one will go to a different site with your username. And then that was that it steals all your data, big block of text that I showed you earlier. And this just writes it to a file. And then same thing with the post data. This one just makes it all asynchronous, so it all downloads at the same time. But you can also see it happen in real time. So if I turn off headless mode, and we'll close out of that, you can see that it generates a web page to my website, because gotta plug it. If we go to my personal site and use the @ symbol to make it faster, we just look it up directly. So this is what's running in the background. You can see all the information is there, all the download links. So it's nothing special. And if you reload this, this is what the site actually looks like. So you can see all this stuff. But say we want to look for Matt Price. And let's make sure that we're not querying any users, because it will store the results and then just look back on it to speed it up again. So if we look up Matthew Price, you can see over here, maybe. Come on. No, this is UC's internet. It might be a bug, I don't know. We'll kill Chrome.
I think it's just his name.
Yeah.
It's like his name is an F.
You can see there's, it will go through each Matthew Price that it finds and just pull all their data. No, because it's all related to Matthew Price. And then it just displays all of that data. And for any of these, I could just download it. So
There's that one guy, mid-air motorcycle.
yeah.
No.
But yeah, so this is the whole project that I've been working on. That's kind of my talk. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah.
So you said that like if they have a public profile, you can get all their followers, right? And mentions and stuff like that.
I can get all their mentions on posts, any hashtags. I can't get the list of their followers yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but we're getting there.
So I guess for mentions, is that so that you get their actual information?
Yeah.
So have you thought about like somehow picking off that and then scraping their profile?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. That's easy to implement because it would just become recursive at that point.
It'd be cool if you do that somehow, like visualize how they're all the people are connected. That would be wild.
So the neat thing about this library is that textual. If we go to all the different widgets, that this library runs 100% in your terminal. It works over SSH. So it has buttons, checkboxes, collapsible items. You can do tables, displays. So you can do like a directory tree, search bars, lists, loading icons, logs, markdown viewings, markdown, option lists. Just there's so much stuff that you can do with this library, and it all runs natively in your terminal on the 3 big OSs. But I think what you're looking for is a tree. So you could generate like a tree of like who's related to who, or even expand that further if you actually want to build this out into a real app and not just inside the terminal. But you could essentially map out every connection to every Instagram person, which would just be crazy.
Yeah, like on my head, it's like if you do it like for like my profile, I wonder like if you do it enough times on all my posts, would you start to see like I knew these people in high school, I knew these people in college, and you just kind of get like into that level, that would be wild.
Yeah. It's just like the real idea behind this is just to see what's out there and what you can pull just from public information. And when you automate it, obviously you can see it's so much quicker and it's so much faster. But yeah. Anybody have any other questions? I know it was a short talk, but no? But yeah. Yeah, I'll let you.
All right, yeah. So again, next meeting is the last meeting of the semester. You're again highly encouraged if you're going to be in Cincinnati, just show up so you can hear what's going on because it's a little bit different summer schedule. So yeah, for those on look, wow, I messed up the last line. That's fantastic.
And it's recorded.
Yeah, I know it's great. For those of you online, appreciate it. We will be recording next meeting, so we will see you guys then.